Hey guys, my name's Crystal Kenny, and I'm in love with creating. All things artistic and imagination involved. I'm an American girl who chased her creative dreams all the way to Paris, France, making a living using photography. This podcast takes you inside the stories of all the artsy folks I've met along the way and gives you that extra push to discover your creative gifts. The desire to create is deeply inside each and every one of us, and I give you the tools and inspiration to find a new way of living a more creative life. This is La Vie Creative, the podcast. Have you ever thought about reinventing your life, changing everything? New home, new job, new art? Well, this episode is for you. Today, I speak to Linda, who talks all about the art of reinvention. So welcome to the show, Linda. How are you today?
Very well. Thank you for inviting me.
I'm so excited to chat with you today. You are Australian by birth with Spanish and French heritage. You left home at 18 to explore Australia and ended up a nanny on a cattle ranch in the Northern Territory. But you've been all over the world and now in France. Tell us more about your travels and what brought you to France.
Well, technically right now I'm in India, but I'm obviously on my way back to France. But yes, look, what brought me to France is that's what you want to know?
Yeah.
I went to France with my English boyfriend when I was 19, 20. His mother had an amazing job looking after a stud for one of the richest families in Europe. Anyway, we arrived there and the food and the history and the culture, it just resonated. And I knew I had to go back. And I eventually, after I was raised my daughter, I decided it was my time. And I went back to France to live. I'd been back as a visitor many times, but to live. And I went back to study at the cooking school in Lyon. And I just couldn't leave. I couldn't.
Oh, wow.
Couldn't.
What was that like? What's the cooking school like? Is it in French? Is it in English? Is it harder than you thought it would be?
Well, it started off in English, and that was great. The actual cooking school was in English, and it wasn't great English, but it was in English. And we were all basically semi-professionals and doing we started from the beginning to learn everything in the correct French style. I mean, we cut vegetables, I think, for about 4 days into the French have a very military style operation in the kitchen, as you mentioned before. A lot goes back to the military, and they call it, it's basically very regimented, and they have everything precise, and they have a word for the way they cut their vegetables in the size and shape and whatever. So yes, we did that for 3 months, not cutting vegetables, but we cooked for 3 months. And then I went back and studied my master's in hotel management. And that was mainly in French. So that was really difficult because I couldn't speak French.
Good for you.
Yeah, that was a challenge.
And how do you feel now? I mean, you've integrated into France. Like, do you feel like it's home?
Yes.
Is it still a struggle?
Oh, yes. Look, France is a struggle. I don't think anyone that goes there, I mean, if you don't speak the language, it's going to be a struggle. And I was bilingual when I was young. I spoke Spanish. So learning languages isn't so difficult for me, but I don't know how anyone who hasn't learned a language goes to France and learns it, because French is really difficult, I think, the most difficult. So compared to Spanish anyway, which was my first language. But yes, it was difficult, but I met a Frenchman and he didn't speak English. So one of us had to catch up, and that was me. I had to learn French. So it's amazing what you can learn when you have to.
Yeah,
and I wasn't young, so that didn't help. But it's incentive. You know, when you have an incentive, you do it. So I wanted to live there. I wanted to be a French person. I didn't want to live on the outside. I wanted to integrate. So I had no choice.
Good for
which is
you.
good.
That's fantastic. Yeah, you learned French for love and integration.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And you've got to learn the country. You can't learn it if you're trying to, well, you can't learn it any other way except learn their language.
This is very true. They love their language too, as we all do. We like being able to communicate.
I'm very proud of being able to communicate in French.
And
Very.
you've lived in 6 countries, you've visited 43 countries.
Oh,
Do you
yes,
see yourself
yes.
as adventurous or just unwilling to stay stuck?
Oh, that's a big question. Um, I'm just curious, I think. I just am curious about cultures and history and, things that you can see that are new. I don't know. It's not good, really. Sometimes I wonder if I'd ever have a different life, what would it have, how I would have been as a person. But I've always lived. So I don't know. Well, I was stable for a while, for about 20 years. So that was good. I brought up a daughter and relatively stable. We moved around Australia, but yeah, I stayed in Australia. But I just love Europe. I love France. I love all the countries of Europe, except when they're cold. That's not fun.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Me too. Cold and rain. No, thank you.
And grey.
Yeah,
Oof,
a lot of that.
no.
England, especially.
The
Yeah.
UK. Yeah, when you go and live, when I lived in the UK for 3 years, and that was the thing that I think got me most was the grey skies.
Yeah, definitely. Something we all know about. And have you always trusted that the next chapter would appear? I mean, you've reinvented yourself so many times.
I think it's necessity, when you get to the point where um, you have to make that leap, um, then you do it. I mean, look, you have to be brave. And I was just speaking to an Australian friend. He's gone back. He was living in Barcelona. He's gone back and he's starting a business up in Melbourne. And I said, look, you just have to be brave. You have to lose your ego. You just have to do whatever it is you have to do to get to where you want to get. And start with baby steps and believe in yourself and look for opportunities. Um, I met a guy, I was living in Byron Bay and there was no work, and I had a daughter, and I was thinking, what do I do? And I met a guy, and he just said to me, just look around, see what's not being done, a bit like you, Crystal. What is not being done well, and what could I contribute to that? And that's where I came up with my idea for a recruitment business. And that was really successful. So I'm very happy with that. I was very happy with that. But look, there was a line in the movie that I saw and I thought, wow, this is so true. There is no certainty, only opportunities. And I think that's really been in the back of my mind what I've always thought. And I've made some failures, don't you worry. I've had some good failures, but you have to learn.
Definitely. It's all about failing and still getting back up again, right? And not being
Yes,
afraid
back
to
in the
just
saddle. Mm,
yes, exactly. No, that's so true. And I love what you said about looking for what's missing. How can we fill that space? And, there's always going to be
mm.
opportunity. We just have to keep our eyes open. Like you said, don't let your ego get in the way.
No, because there's been many of opportunity that people have lost because they've decided they want to spend money to make it look better. Um, and that just, you have to start small. You have to start with no investment in capital if you can, the minimal investment. And I mean, which you obviously, as a photographer, were able to do to a certain extent. And when I had a recruitment business, that was easy. But a restaurant, I had a restaurant and a accommodation, and boy, did we spend some capital. you know,
Yeah, those are expensive.
you know, very, very.
So was there a moment when you thought, I can't start over again?
Um, I'm probably getting to that stage now. I'm probably getting to it, but at the same time, I think, oh, wouldn't it be nice to learn about this and maybe try this? It's just, but not in a big scale, but something kind, something easy, something pleasurable, not to make money, just to do it for me. Yes,
That's a great
that
place
would
to
be
be.
nice.
We love
Mm.
that place.
And ideally, that's what everything should be. It should be something that you really enjoy doing, of course. Um, but, sometimes there are people who have businesses, they might make widgets or something. I mean, they can't seriously be passionate about that, but, or maybe they are. But, you can't always be passionate. You just have to be realistic.
Exactly. Yeah, sometimes. And you've worked in finance, hospitality, wine marketing, recruitment, and now cooking.
Oh,
Do you think there's
oh,
something that threads all of this together?
no. I don't think so. No. As I said, it's because I was in an environment and I had no choice. I had to do this. Look, not the cooking. Well, the cooking has been part of my life. My family had a restaurant since I was born. So that was always in the background. It was always something I wanted to perfect. But no, the other businesses were merely opportunities that came up. And then I had to try to grow in those opportunities. Um, so, no, there's no connection. It's just simply being in a different geographical place and having to adapt for whatever reason. So, yeah.
Adaptation, yeah. And I feel like reinvention is your art form. Talk a
Oh,
little bit
dear.
about that. I mean, I think it's so brave and exciting. I mean, so many people stay in the same career for their whole life or stay in bad relationships, and you have to be brave to take that step without knowing, what it is. I mean, even
Mm.
with being an artist or creative, it's scary to say, "Oh, I'm going to try to make money doing something I love." So, what advice do you have about reinvention?
Well, look, it's really easy if you have some money behind you. You have to have something there to pay the rent. So, there's a sort of a tandem thing happening to some extent. Um, but look, I don't know. It's just maybe it's fate sometimes. It's, but as I said, with that guy, he just gave me such good advice, just think out of the square. Don't, and look, when I had my recruitment business and I had a lot of people coming, they were calling me initially to say, we're coming to the area because I lived in a very desirable area in Australia on the East Coast. And a lot of them had given up their jobs and sold their houses. And I said, when you come here, you will not have the same job that you had before. You have to forget what was behind you and think in front. And many of them had to do that. Some of them had to take work in a factory. They were marketing managers or something serious, and they had to work doing manual work. That was the only way they could survive. And as I said, with your egos, sometimes you have to do that. Not sure people want to do that anymore, but anyway, it's a
Yeah,
big
that's true.
statement.
Well, you mentioned about ego being dangerous. Talk about why.
I've just seen people who have started up businesses and overextended themselves, um, or who haven't wanted to start at the bottom and work their way up. When I was doing my master's, there were people and doing the same course, and they thought they were going to start off as a general manager of a five-star hotel. And it was obviously not going to work that way. And they were going to be disappointed because you have to start in a hotel, you have to start making beds, basically, which I've done. And it's bloody hard work.
Definitely. You have
I've
to work
been,
your way up.
yeah, in hospitality, I washed um, in the kitchen, I was the pot washer. Um, I was managing a hotel and I didn't have a pot washer. So I had to wash the pots. That was it.
Yeah, I think we've all had jobs that we're like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, I actually quite liked it. Sometimes I preferred to be in the kitchen than out the front.
The dishes don't talk back.
No, they don't. They don't demand a better table.
So, what would you say to a woman who feels it's too late to start over?
Oh, never. Oh, never. It's like finding love. It's never too late to find love. Is it? Oh,
No,
don't say it is, please.
definitely not.
That'd be devastating. Um, no, it's never too late. Look, I'm not saying that we can do this forever, but I think it's all in your mind, isn't it? In your energy level, maybe? I don't know. I haven't got the answers to everything, Crystal.
I was hoping you did.
No, look, I just think a sense of adventure. Um, and I'm sorry to the married women to tell you this, but being single really helps.
I like that. Yeah, you're more free to do whatever you want because
Oh,
you're not
yes.
considering anybody else.
Yes, you can make the decisions that you want to make. Look, husbands, partners are fabulous to have around, to have, if you can have a support system, then that is ideal. But it doesn't always work that way. So if it doesn't, then you just have to get on with it. But no, I think that being single in my case has helped, but definitely being having a sense of adventure.
Definitely.
Yeah, I don't know. Mm.
Openness.
And a sense of humor, because if you want to live in France, you definitely have to have a sense of humor.
I feel the same way. Yeah, you gotta laugh. You can't take anything personally or you lose your mind and people leave because they can't take, some of the things that go on.
Yeah, look, I see it as a challenge, really, when you're in hospitality and you've got a really difficult customer and they are really going to make your life hell that night, then the challenge is to make them switch them around. And I see that with the French. The challenge is to make them like you. It's really a challenge. And once they do it, then you're their friend for life. You have to earn it.
Completely. And I think that's something a lot of people don't know about, but it's very true.
Well, look, Australians and like Americans, they're instantly a friend. And whereas the French aren't, but they're a friend forever.
Yes. I always talk about the coconut versus what is it? Peach, Americans are peaches. We can really easy to penetrate, but we got a hardcore. We're not maybe truly your friend. And then French people have the coconut where they're all hard to get in there, but once you're in, it's all nice inside and
Oh,
gooey.
yes. Oh, yes. Yes. I've got some great friends and I really, really value them. And they're sincere.
Yes, it's real. It's not fake. And what
Mm.
skill ha saved you over and over again? Is there a certain skill you always use?
I think I didn't know this until I started, but I think selling, being able to sell, convince myself, convince other people I could do things for them, help them, and maybe they could trust me. And I think that helped me. I know it helped me when I was working in the wine business in Melbourne, trying to sell wine to all these ghastly restaurateurs that would sort of eat you for breakfast. Um, it's a tough business selling wine, tough, and they, I just persisted, and eventually I knocked the wall down, and then they trusted me, and then I was, I was good. But yeah, persistence and being who I am, not trying to be fake. I think, I hope.
Definitely. Yeah, that makes sense. And if reinvention had a formula, what would it include, you think?
Oh, well, I don't know. Reinvention, a formula. That's a tough question. Um, as I said, persistence, adaptability, um, creativity. Obviously, you have to be very creative to reinvent yourself, and just believing in yourself and knowing that. I mean, look at all those artists that had to the struggles that they've had to be known and weren't even known until after they died. That's they kept going. So yes, believe in yourself.
Yeah, I think that's something I really like watching documentaries about actors or celebrities, and it's like it's always the same thing. Like everyone thought they were crazy, or they said, "Oh yeah, I'm going to be famous," or whatever. They just always believed it, even when no one else did. So I think that's really important.
And that's where I think, unfortunately you've got the Nepo era, you know, I don't know how they can succeed if they're instantly accepted. I think you've got to struggle for your art, don't you?
Yeah, I agree. I think struggle is what life is about because then you can't appreciate when it gets easy and good. You need to have a little struggle.
You absolutely do. And you've got to bring up your children to understand that they have to pick themselves up to some extent and keep moving forward on their own to some extent. And I think that's I can remember being on my knees at one stage thinking, how am I going to do this? I've got a daughter, I've got no income, I've got no job hanging around. And that's where necessity came in. And I believed in myself and I sold myself and I started up this incredible recruitment business that was, I was very proud of it. So, yeah, from literally on my knees and just believing, well, desperation too.
It takes desperation and belief. That is the
Yes,
reinvention
yes,
formula.
maybe, yes, thank you. You've just worked it out. You've worked it out. Thank you.
And how would you define creativity in your own words?
Ah, as I said, maybe reinventing yourself. I don't know. But look, I mean, I think in the conventional sense, being creative, sometimes you don't even know if you're creative. You just don't realize you are. But I think I tried to tell you I've been very good at gardening and things like that. I mean, I can't draw a stick insect. I mean, I'm hopeless. But, um, you know, there's a certain, when you look at something and you look at the color and you look at the shape and you look at the form, I really love my taking photos on my Instagram account, which is a really pathetic account, but I really love that I can put something in a photo and look at it and think, oh, I like that. Not because it has to be the most liked photo in the world, but I like it. That's it.
Yeah, I think there's something really to be said about that, that just making something for yourself, because we're always for the likes and the follows and who's talking
No,
about it. It's not healthy.
no, I don't want that. I do it for me. And if people like it, thank you. But no, I just like going there, seeing the place, getting the feel, trying to portray or transfer that feel in the photo. And I'm not like you. I don't get paid for doing it. I'm no good at it. I've never learned. But I look at it and I say, I remember how I felt taking that photo. That's all I want.
Yeah, it brings back memories, and that's something really beautiful about art too.
Well, look, in France, how many memories are there to find, really? So many, so many.
Everywhere.
Have you
And
done the exploring and driven around and just stopped where you want to stop and taken the beautiful photo and just kept going?
I mean, that's all I used to do when I first moved there because, you don't have anything else to do. You're building a business, you don't have any friends, you're just trying to find
Yeah,
your way around and survive.
it's a tough gig, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Paris is one of the hardest cities to immigrate to. And I think if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere.
Yes, yes. Forget New York. You've got Paris.
Yeah, Paris is way harder, at least for Americans, because we don't speak French most of the time. We gotta learn this new language, this new culture. Any English speaker, it's hard. We
Very.
figure it out though, definitely. And
Oh,
so what's
yes.
next for you? What would you like listeners to know about?
Well, I think I said to you, I'm in India at the moment. I'm looking at some ideas about materials, maybe, or something. India's got some color here that I think resonates in with the French idea of design and definitely with couture. I mean, they use Indian materials all the time. They just don't tell you, the beading and the colors and whatever. So that's not something, but definitely with interior design, I think that the um, materials that they create in the north, in Jaipur, around there, are really got a lot of, I mean, there are a lot of people probably doing it already, but it's something I thought I might like to do. Um, and I'm also starting a book of short stories, and that's a bit of a challenge.
Very fun. We got writing, we got
Mm,
clothing. I mean, this is
mm.
exciting. All new
Why
territory,
not?
all reinvention.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Why not? Well, things that really grab me, so why not? I mean, look, who knows? The book thing, it's something I said everyone says they're going to write, but it's very hard to actually start and finish. But why not?
Why not? Exactly. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us today. And where can people connect with you and learn more about your work?
Well, at the moment, just on Instagram, which is profiter_enjoy. And yeah, it's in French and English, of course.
Look at you. I love it. Well, we'll definitely share that in the show notes. And thanks so much. And I can't wait to see what you'll do next.
Thank you, Crystal. Lovely to meet you.
Thanks so much for tuning in to La Vie Creative. You can find more information on MissParisPhoto.com. And if you enjoyed this show, please feel free to share and spread the word for all my creative guests. We have the power to help them to keep doing what they love. See you next time.